Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Global News Review. My name is Ola. I'm the founder of the Money with Club, and on this sessions every Saturday, 9 a.m. GMT plus one, what we basically do is we talk about money matters, we talk about personal finance, investment, and the economy, and how the news impacts you. Right. So you're welcome to subscribe to our channel, and please share if you find this useful with your friends and family. Be a good friend. So, as we normally do, we discuss global news, African news, and Nigerian news. So we just pick highlights, like the most important thing we feel we need to talk about for the week. Now, this week, of course, it's called news. So every week, there's always something that we can discuss, right? So this week, we have some interesting news. Let me pop it up. From America. The U.S. Trade Courts declared that all these tariffs, all these conversations, it was the president overstepping his boundaries, right? And so the markets corrected, or the markets jumped in response to that statement, right? Or that what's it called? Court judgment. Yes, that judgment. Now, why am I highlighting this? So I always say this thing, like if you don't know, these sessions are powered by the Money Weight Club. I always say this in the club, like you can't be jumping at news. Everything that comes, you jump in one direction. Everything that comes, you jump in another direction. Oh, there's tariffs, so I sell my securities. There's this, so I sell that, right? Everyday news is for traders. Everyday news is for traders, and it's their responsibility to actually like trade the news. But if you are an investor, you need to slow down and say, even these tariffs that are announced, what asset am I investing in, and what impact will it have? Do we think these companies have shown capacity to evolve over time? Do you think this will shut down this company, especially if you're a US investor, US stock investor, right? That's where it really matters. And you realize that if the president himself is not trying to destroy American businesses, then something must come out of it. So go back to the fundamentals of the company and say, is this company still viable? It is something that we must learn. Why? Because a lot of people run away from the stock market because of things like this. Oh, something happened. We all ran in this direction. Then, oh, they came and said it wasn't so whatever. Then we now go back in the other direction. And they're like, okay, what am I supposed to do here? Say, as an investor, you're supposed to do nothing. Or if the company is so good, you were supposed to buy. Why do I say that? Who really wants to buy when it's expensive? So if something happens that makes that investment, that asset that you would have loved to buy cheaper, it's a car, it's a house, what would you do? You would jump at it. Yeah. I always remember with the stock market, if you are selling, somebody else is buying. So go figure. Somebody is doing what I'm saying, right? And so it's very, very important. It's interesting to see, and we'll see how it pans out, because this whole tariff thing has been a distraction for like the past 5 months of this year. And people have gone in different directions on the back of it. There have been negotiations, there have been many negotiations. So it's actually even unraveling the impact of this court judgment is going to be some drama in itself. So look out for that. But most importantly, as an investor, right, be mindful of the fact that you shouldn't just be jumping with news. You are not a trader. If you're a trader, then you should be fine, because it's that volatility that may help you make money, if you get what I mean. Yeah. So hi Judisco. Good morning. Thank you for joining in, and shout out to everyone that pops in to say hi, or bothers to make a statement, or drops a comment after the sessions. Sometimes we're able to, let me see if I have any setup. Sometimes we're able to shout people out, but I don't think, okay, yes, I can shout out to someone here while we're at it. Yeah, so this is someone that has been dropping comments for us. Ada, Dr. Ada. Yeah, thank you so much. Now, moving on to the next news. Now, on the back of this whole, now I love this news. Everybody, like, if you don't know Nvidia and you're on this earth and you are planning to be an investor, there's nothing I can say. Because Nvidia has been like the newest wife for a while, and they have stayed as the youngest wife, hot and piping, piping hot for a while, right? And so Nvidia's results came out, and there was this at a point in time in this year, there was an announcement that DeepSeek, there's some DeepSeek announcement that they were going to come in with open source technology, all the things that ChatGPT and co were hoarding. They just delivered it, blah blah blah. And Nvidia stock prices crashed because they felt like Nvidia was going to be impacted by it, you know. But what happened? Nvidia released their latest results and they did very well. They did very, very well. Now, it highlights this thing where we say focus on the company. The environment will do what it needs to do, but focus on on the company. When you are making an investment, you're not making an investment. Yes, the economy has its impact, but when everybody's impacted by the same thing, look at the company and say, how can this company manage this, or can this company manage it? Why? Because if you had sold your Nvidia because of all the noise, all the China taking over, all the China chips, chip market, blah blah blah, all that, it will be sad. So this is just your reminder that the newspaper people, the news headlines is just supposed to elicit an emotion from you that will make you read more, that will make you discuss about it, that will make them trend, so they will make money on ads, if you get what I'm saying. So when you see the news, it's supposed to evoke an emotion, right? But don't let that emotion that it evokes translate into action without processing. Yeah, don't panic. That's the most important thing. And then before we go on, we have like what's it called? We have like a freebie. So one of the things that we found, right? And if you don't know, you can check me out. I am a financial educator, right? I help people put their finances in order. I used to be a security trader. I'm a specialist in finance. So my thing around investing and personal finance, right? But what I found is that a lot of Americans, when they leave the country, they don't know where to invest. They don't know what to do. They just mortgage, get a car loan. So they get the house in the first 1 2 years, and you feel like, oh, but then when you start thinking about retirement, you're wondering what's going to happen. So we created this tool, like it was a case study of different people. What did they do to actually transform their future, their financial future, right? While still working, what can you do to go beyond real estate, right? Go beyond, because that's really what people do. They buy their house and say, and if you ask them what their valuation is, everything is tied to an asset that they can't wake up today and sell, right? So if you want to go beyond that, we did like a short research, like we have a case study of three people and what they did. I think for if you are an African in diaspora, you'll find it useful. So it should be in the description. It will be in the description. So just download. You're welcome to download and share if you find it valuable. Thank you. Somebody else is saying hi. Hi, Ishwa. Something is happening here. Okay, moving on to Africa news. Sorry, sorry, something is happening with my. Okay, Nigerian news is coming up. Okay, moving on to Nigerian news then. Then Nigeria unveils Africa Free Trade Continental Free Trade Agreement intelligence tool. Now, why am I highlighting this? So, what is the tool about? It's basically for intelligence gathering for companies. Like, how do you want to move from one ecosystem to another? You are a Nigerian, you have a product that could go across Africa, but you don't have data. Do you get? And so they just launched this financial intelligence tool, and I think it's amazing. Now, why do I think it's amazing? Because it might not sound like news that generally that would affect your pocket, but it does. It will affect your pocket in the end. If you are a business person, if you have someone that is into trade that has a product that they are producing, right? Now, why do I say that? Because fundamentally, the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement, the idea behind it is for Africa to buy and sell with each other. So if you have something that other Africans will benefit from, you can sell it to them. So, for example, I don't know if other African countries have ashoke. So, if you're an ashoke maker in Lagos, right, you can actually sell your ashoke, or you are a fabric, or you're a tailor, right, or you're a designer. So, you have products ready to wear, African ashoke. Ashoke is not, it might not be a thing in whatever country, maybe in Nairobi, right? And you can sell to them, but you need data. You need market intelligence. You need to know where to drop that data, where to drop that asset for you to sell and to move well, or where there's a need, where there's a gap. You need that. So whilst a lot of people might look at this and say, if you are someone who is close to people that are selling anything, and want to expand their business. This is something you need to keep an eye on. The Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement is something that you also need to plug into. Why? Because yes, you can sell abroad, but if we're able to do these things, which I will talk about, in fact, maybe I should just also talk about the next news also, where the federal government inaugurates intra-Africa air cargo, right? So the thing is, if we're able, and that is the major thing, if we add these things up, what would happen is that you would wake up one day and realize that the same way a made in Switzerland product on the shelves in France issue, is the same way you're going to start seeing blah blah blah, right? Why? Because there's an infrastructure, a legal structure, a social infrastructure, a logistics infrastructure to support it. Why am I highlighting this? Because as Africans, we are used to dragging ourselves. We are used to dragging ourselves. We are actually used to dragging ourselves. And the thing about dragging yourself is that you drag yourself so much, you lose sight of opportunities. So I'm here shouting that don't lose sight of those opportunities. They are very, 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 very valid, right? Very, 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 very valid. We know that yes, there's population, but there's no spending power, or the spending power is not as much, but it can be built. It's built by creating ecosystems. So don't look at Africa with disdain entirely. People are coming here and cleaning out in this same continent that you're like, no, there's poverty, blah 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 blah. It's not entirely like that. There's always opportunities. So open your eyes, especially if you are not someone in diaspora. You get what I mean. And then the final news, this one doesn't seem to be popping up, but out of Africa, we have a new president of the Africa Finance Development Bank. He's a great guy from Mauritania, and the elections were held in the past week. Now, I think in a lot of ways, Africa seems to be waking up. Seems to be waking up, because even from his initial speech, what he's trying to achieve, blah blah blah, he's more about positioning, taking our place in the global economic space. Proper negotiations, getting fresh funding, being less dependent on some people who want to call the shots all the time, things like that. I'm not being paid, but I do think that things are getting better. I do think that a lot of these things that we are looking at with disdain have the capacity to make things better. In the long run, it takes time. I think that's a major thing. It actually does take time. So you have to be aware. It's not overnight. It will not be overnight. I was literally on an interview on Arise yesterday, and the what's it called? The question rose about AI, how we're investing in AI in Nigeria, and people are hungry. But I just realized that, and what I said was, if you focus on hunger every single day, you will never pull yourself out of it, right? So the people that are supposed to focus on hunger, the minister of the economy, or the coordinating minister for the economy, and know that, let them focus on hunger. But if you are tech, then you have to do tech and do tech well. The most important thing is that you find the things that have a use case, if you understand what I mean. A use case, a transferable value, that kind of thing, right? So I just want to, yeah. So see this. I love this feedback from E. Thank you. Hi, Eve. Trust you had a good week. He's been so diligent. I see you. And he's saying thanks for the insight and not being moved by emotion, but studying the fundamentals. Yes, studying the fundamentals. And just keeping track, right? That's something that we do in the Money with Club. If you haven't heard about us, please check us out. Let me see if I can pop up our website on the page. Yes, check us out there. If it's something that you think we'll need, join the waitlist, because we're not taking new members right now. But just check the website out, and I'm sure you will be glad. And then I think finally, I have an announcement. We have, let me see if I can. My pop ups are not really popping up. Oh, yes, we have the book of the month. The book of the month is Richest Man in Babylon. If you haven't already read it, I recommend. It's always good to build your knowledge in something that is important to you. Don't wing. The same way at work, they would send you on trainings. You have to create a system for personal development when it comes to your finances because you retire from work, but you can't retire from money, yeah, or from being broke, yeah. You must do something to work your way out of it, right? So, Richest Man in Babylon, please check it out. The month of May is ending this weekend, so jump on it as quickly as possible. And then the final announcement that I do have is our live online financial planning workshop. We had one last in April actually, but this date is not correct. In April, but next one is coming up on the 28th of June. Check it out. The link will still work, the barcode will still work, link will be in the description and all. The barcode will still work because it's still the same page, right? But basically, if you are someone who creates strategies for work, you have a 5 year strategic plan, break it down into years, deliverables, check in every 6 months, 2 months, 1 month, blah 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 blah, weekly deliverables, yeah, yeah, yeah. Do you do that for your personal finances? If you don't, yeah, just joking because that work it will end one day, right? Even if you're running a company, at some point you will step back and then you realize that the company and you are separate human beings till you drop. But if you don't have those kind of plans and you want to actually live a broader life, then you need to have a financial plan. It is extremely important. And in this live online session, we actually walk people through the process of getting that financial plan in place. So if something that is very important to you or important to your friend, link will be in the description. The barcode will still work, even though date is not correct at this point. And then there's a discount code. It's going to go live tomorrow, 25% off. The discount code is still valid, be 25. It will go live tomorrow. If you're on our wait list, you will get an email saying that it is live. And then we'll take it from there. I trust this was useful. I'm sure you all know already what I'm going to say. You can't finances, you always have to engage. You don't on your behalf and you will be fit vegetables on your behalf. And that's the same way you cannot finances. You always have to engage. Have a beautiful week ahead. Questions, any thoughts? I'm happy to engage. Bye.